Hello everybody, this is Dr. Novak again. As I said in my last video, I'm going to be doing a review on an ADA aquarium filter, and it's a Superjet filter 600. I'm going to compare the Superjet 600 here with a Eheim 2217, which would be this guy right here, this big guy right here. And if we compare the two, now I didn't do an unboxing of this filter. This is the Eheim 2217. It's about 5 years old. Anyhow, I wanted to give you some idea of the ADA filter, compare it to an Eheim filter. When I was younger, these Eheim filters like this were considered to be the Cadillac of filters. And I remember once I went to a store and I saw one of the Eheim filters had a pump on top of it, a separate pump. And I asked the guy about it, and he said, "Oh, that's the Cadillac of filters." And at the same time, I also saw a Supreme Dynamaster air pump, all made out of brass, pumping away, and I really thought that was something quite unique. Well, Eheim has changed their filters to an all encapsulated motor like this. No longer do they have a separate motor sitting on top, and this, as you can see, this has a separate motor sitting on top, and this is the 88. So the ADA here is 4 times more than this Eheim. And I think what people want to know is, for 4 times more, are you getting 4 times your value? Now, canister filters like this, they still make them. They're called classics. And for the hobbyists who've been in the hobby a long time, a lot of them think these are the best filters because of the way you can pack them with different materials, completely different than what the manufacturer has. But anyway, these are also 2 filters that you can make an anoxic filtration system out of. These 2 very easily. And I'm going to do a video on that after I show you about these 2 filters. So what we have here is we have a nice Eheim classic filter, this one right here. They're nice, they're made out of plastic, but they have a few flaws to them. This piece right up here, this little piece here, it's already broken on me and I've had to glue it. That means this is a stress point. It's very, very thin wall plastic. And once you put the hose on, boy, if you hit it, it just pops right off. That's kind of bad for the price of these filters. Now, once you glue it, it's been compromised. It's never going to be as strong as it was when it was brand new. Another thing about these filters that Eheim needs to correct is the bottom here. The bottom here takes this elbow right here. And when you screw this elbow in to the bottom, Eheim has done this for years. Instead of making it a lock and then with a washer on it, you know, put a washer on the back of this, you screw it in like this and it just keeps screwing in. Well, you know, if you stop like this thing can start leaking. It's a really bad design. It should be where it locks in, you twist it and it snaps into place and seals the rubber gasket. But as you can see, look, you just keep going, and then when it finally tightens up, there's where it's at. That's terrible. So what happens is the hobbyist keeps turning this and turning it to try to get it straight up and down. What happens is, if it doesn't break, it will break in the future because of the pressure that's being applied to the plastic part. And eventually it cracks right in here. And that could be over time and stress, and it just breaks. And then your filter is leaking all over the floor. That's why they sell spare parts of these. Eheim should make it where it just pops in and then you twist it and it locks. That's how they should do it. Why don't they redesign it? I do not know, but this is another Achilles heel of this particular pump. The pump is big, it's about 15 inches. As you can see, comparing the two here, this one is 15 inches, this is 16.5 inches. So you got 1.5 inches higher than this pump. So if you can fit this pump, you probably can fit this pump, the ADA pump. They're nice filters. There's a lot of good filters out there today, though. Eheim, I think, in all honesty, used to be the best filter that you could buy. But a lot of competition has come around, and they are very competitive with Eheim. One thing I do like about Eheim is if they start rattling, they're pretty easy to fix. And I'm going to do a video on that, on how to fix Eheims. Real simple. It's because of the laminations in there and the magnetic pull of the impeller. I won't get into that now, but that's something that Eheim does have, that it rattles. This is a very efficient pump, and I think it only uses 20 watts and 2.3 liters an hour. This one pumps out. Yeah, that's it, 2.3 liters an hour. That's all this pumps out. This particular pump, let's see, this is a walkie pump, and this pumps up 5.5 liters a minute. It can't be, it says 2.3 liters an hour. That can't be right. That's got to be per minute. 2.3 liters. 1,000. Anyhow, none of these particular pumps here are very strong for these canister filters. Eheim has never been known to have powerful pumps like we Americans like. We seem to like 350, 400, 500 gallons an hour. The Germans prefer slower movement. They design all their pumps to have very slow output compared to what we Americans prefer, which is a stronger output. So I decided to order this because what I'm going to do is make an anoxic filter out of this. You can make one out of this, or you can make one out of this. And it's the same thing we're going to do here as if you were going to do it in your sump. Exact same. It's not going to be any different. The only difference is now you can buy a canister filter. You got to buy one of these. These seem to be the ones that will do the best on making an anoxic filter. And this comes in different sizes. This also comes in different sizes. That's a good thing. Both of these come in bigger sizes, stronger pumps. The difference is this is about 4 times more than this when you go to buy it. But let's take a look at the ADA here. The ADA here is all stainless steel. I don't know if this is 304 or 316. Stainless steel is a very big class of metal, meaning that D2, A2, S7, CPM 10V, 4140, all these are stainless steel. It means nothing to you guys as a hobbyist, but to an engineer, these steels all mean something, and what it basically means, high chrome, high carbon steel. If this is 316, this would be good enough for saltwater. I do not know if this is 316. Now, you can go up to 900, like 904. Rolex uses 900 stainless steel in their watches because they claim that after so many years they can start pitting when they look under a microscope. Is it really needed? No. 316 is good enough, and we have a 400, 600 stainless steel, but for our applications, a 316 or a 304 would be good. 304, I would say, Freshwater, if this is 316, I would say could be used in saltwater. If it does pit, it will take years and years and years. Okay, the only thing that's going to be better than this is if you went to titanium. Okay, and that's the honest truth. You'd have to go to titanium. And no one's going to make something like this out of titanium, which means it would be good for salt and freshwater. But for right now, we're just talking about freshwater. And I'm going to tell you what I saw. I didn't do an unboxing because I figured there's more than enough unboxing videos. It's almost like watching somebody else open up their Christmas presents and you're watching them. So what I did is I pulled it all out of the box to find out what's going on with this pump and why does it cost so much. Well, first of all, as you can see right here, it's got a very good Milwaukee pump. And Milwaukee was first came out about 1956. It became very popular for mini reef tank or reef tanks back in the 80s. And this is what hobbyists used. They're known to last over 10 years of continuous duty. They're very well made. They're industrial pumps. They do make American pumps, but they're not quite as good as the Japanese. This is a Japanese pump. So this is the better of the pumps. The American ones will have a little bit longer, and from my understanding, the American ones are not quite as good as the Japanese. But being that it's Japanese, everybody, I want you to understand, I've never seen this on a video, so I thought I'd do it on my video. You got stuff like this. And you've got an extra plug-in that this plugs into here, it connects up to here, so you can plug it into a three-way plug, a ground plug. This comes with it. You can tell it's Japanese. It comes with clamps, and it also comes with powder to clean up the stainless steel. I'm taking that these are 3/16 stainless steel clamps. They give you two of them. Now the fittings on this particular pump are 13 millimeter, and for us Americans that would be about 1/2 inch. Okay, it's 0.5, 10, something like that. It's a 1/2 inch. Because this is designed for Japan, here's something I never even knew. No one ever talked about it. They give you a converter. The converter is a electrical converter. It tells you what to do. Pull this out. This is something I did not know, and because that is a Japanese pump, 100 watts. This is a 100-watt pump. You cannot connect it to a 120. You have to connect the pump to a 100-watt. So they give you this step down, so you could step it down, and it's got this. So we have 120 voltage here in America, but your step down will be 100. So this now has to plug into this, and you can use the 3-prong plug here so you can ground it and everything else. And this is made in China. This is something I did not know that these particular filters came with. Because of all the unboxings and everything, I have not seen a step-down transformer, which would make sense that it is a Japanese pump, and the Japanese use 100 instead of 110 like we do here in America. So you'll have to, definitely you're going to have some way of stepping down that motor. And this is what they send you with it. It's a heavy device. So since they're only using 100 watt and not 120, so they give you directions. It's written in Japanese, written in English. Amano is the person who designed this. They give you a bag of carbon here. Okay, I am not going to be using this. This is a nice big bag of carbon, but I'm not going to be using this. And they give you a foot pad. Supposedly this is supposed to set on top of here to help silence the foot pad. See? And that's how it sets up, like that. Anyhow, whether you want to use it or not, it looks like a mouse pad almost. That's basically what it looks like. So these are a few things like this I wasn't expecting because I've never seen them on other videos. I knew you got the clamps, but nobody mentioned that. Okay, so these are the go in your basket here, just like an Eheim. And these go in the bottom, just like you see there. And there's one for the top and one for the bottom. These are stainless steel. These are heavy duty. I mean, these are real heavy duty. Nothing's going to break on this thing. It's not plastic. This stainless steel was all welded. It's all been polished and welded. Expensive. There's nothing cheap about this, I'll tell you that right now. And I'm telling you, not from a hobbyist point of view, but I'm telling you from an engineering point of view about this. Though this is made, and these are supposed to be handmade, the metal here is a little concaved, and it should be flat. Why is it concaved? I don't know. But if you even try to push on it, it is very, very, very thick stainless steel, and you can't even bend it with your hands. The clips here are spring-loaded clips. There's 2 springs in here. That is spring-loaded, very, very tight spring-loaded polish clips here. Very well made, not quite industrial, but very close to be industrial clips. These are. It looks like they've been bolted, and I don't know if they've been tack welded also. They maybe just been bolted. The whole thing has been handmade. They have a piece of stainless steel up here on the top ridge. Underneath, I can feel there's silicone. So it feels like silicone at the very, very end. So they probably maybe put a small bead of silicone just to help so water would not migrate out of the canister, which is something I did not know. None of the reviewers said anything about it. The canister is nicely made, but you can tell it's not absolutely perfect for what you would expect, and I'll tell you why. Now, remember, I'm probably being a little anal with this because I'm an engineer. I'm an aerospace engineer, and I look at things a little different than what you do. The lid fits on, but it's a little off. These are a little off. This should be dead center, but maybe they made it that way. I don't know. To me, these should have been made a little wider so you can move this very slightly, but they didn't. The clips are extremely strong. So when you go to tighten this up, and I've seen this on videos, watch me if you ever buy one of these. You clip 2 clips on like this and push them both down at the same time, like that. Do not clip one and then the other. Both go down at the same time. This thing, once it's on very, very tight. They give you an O-ring. The good thing about this is they give you an O-ring, and someone said, oh, it's a very expensive O-ring. Yeah, but you can actually, if this ever goes bad, you can actually just buy in a hardware store or a auto parts store rubber of different thicknesses. And because this has a lot of play on it, you can actually just make an O-ring. If, let's say, if your O-ring was leaking, you can literally make an O-ring by going to auto parts store. Where on the Eheim, no, you have to buy Eheim's O-ring because of the way it sets in there. With this, if it goes bad, you can make an O-ring. It doesn't have to be round. It could actually be flat. And that's one thing I thought, well, that's good. In an emergency, if this thing goes bad, run to your hardware store, auto parts store. You can buy a piece of gasket rubber. There is color too, the gasket rubber is. And you can literally just cut yourself a new O-ring and use that. You don't have to buy this expensive one to do the trick. A little more than what the Eheim has to offer. The bottom has been chamfered. This is all very thick stainless steel. I would say it maybe looks like over maybe 125 thousandths thick. I mean, this thing is thick, unbelievable thick. That body right here feels like it's about that thick. You know, about 5/16 thick. I would say, from what I'm seeing here, this is probably, it's been welded. Here's your welding seam here. So it's bent and then welded together and then polished. I wonder if they get this from the outside already made along with the tubes, and all they do is put it together. Supposedly these are supposed to be handmade. Every one of them is separate, and therefore there's not a large production of these canister filters. What I will say is, when you get the carton, it's going to weigh 35, 40 pounds. It's very heavy. This is a very heavy filter. So if this Eheim here is light compared to this 88, of course it's plastic. So you can tell a big difference between this all stainless steel. It has 13 millimeter in and out. The thing they didn't give you, which I think was bad, is they should have given you quick disconnects. And I have to order 2 Eheim quick disconnects. I like Eheim disconnects better than I do the old Fluval disconnects that used to leak constantly. Eheim has made some very good quick disconnects. And they look like this. This is 1/2 of a disconnect. And these things last for years. Very well made. Another good German made part. But anyway, they also give you tubing. As you can see, the plastic tubing over there. Next question is, we're going to make this into an anoxic filter. I'll do a video on that. Next question is, does this look like it's worth 4 times more than the Eheim? Well, for the build quality of this, you're not going to buy something like this cheap. There's nothing out there that compares to this. I mean, I just can't tell you any other canister that's out there. Most canister filters are not going to give you an Milwaukee pump. They're going to in-house build their pumps. I've had trouble with Fluvals. They start rattling, making noise. I've had some Italian Italian pumps. The pumps burnt out within a year. Something went wrong with them. Very disappointed in that. The American Marineland, the old ones, they would either rattle, they wouldn't line up right. There was always something wrong. And let's say you're thinking, well, this is very expensive. Is it worth it? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. This thing's probably going to last you the rest of your life. The only thing you're going to have to change is, or replace, is this rubber gasket, which, like I said, you can make yourself because of the way this connects up. This little rubber piece here, any hardware store you can buy this. This is compression clips, which I think is stupid. Why did they use compression? I would not have used compression clips, but they did. This could be bought at any hardware store, this piece of rubber here. And of course the pump, if the pump ever burns out, you can get a replacement pump. You don't have to buy theirs because this is going to be a very expensive pump. I bet you this is a $200-300 pump, easily, our price, which you can replace it with other pumps if this one ever burns out or goes bad on you. So these are objects that can be replaced. This pump's probably going to last you the rest of your life. You're going to buy it once, and I don't see anything really major like the Eheim that I explained to you, breaking where you're gluing stuff, or cracking when it's running after you've had it 2 or 3 years, and this thing winds up cracking on you and squirting water all over your floor. There's just nothing I can honestly say that's going to really start leaking on this. where you're going to have to worry. So I figured it out in all the years I've been in the hobby. I bet you, just on canister filters alone, I bet you I spent over $2,000. A lot of them hit the trash can. There's nothing much I could do with them once they started making noise. And most people get fed up and just buy a new one. This is something you're not going to just run out and buy a new one. You're going to use it. It's so well made the rest of your life, which means you pay once and that's it. And the little parts that are going to go bad are just wear and tear like this, are easily replaceable. You don't have to buy an expensive rubber gasket like this. You can make your own. They also give you your intake tube, which is glass. Now this comes in two sizes and you have to order it. I think it was 38 millimeters and 44 millimeters or 45 millimeters. This is the 38 millimeter for shorter tanks. And it comes with a lily pipe. And of course, these are all 13 millimeter or for a 1/2 inch hose. And this is what it comes with. It's going to last you forever, and I guess you have to justify the cost. Is it worth the cost, though? Does it have enough quality? Does it have enough gum? It's 4 times more than this. You could buy 4 of these. Eheims here, 4 of them for the price of this one canister filter. I guess you have to look at it like this. It's very well made. It's going to last you the rest of your life. End of story. I guess the only analogy I can really give you on something like this, and to be very, very honest with you, and I'll stick with Japanese. The Japanese make nice watches, Seiko. You could look at this being like a Seiko watch. They're nice. You pay a cheap price for them. They could last you a lot of years. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I've had several Seikos and they just break, hands fall off, whatever. There's no pride of ownership. You just buy a Seiko because you like it, put it on your wrist. That's it. Then again, you can go out and buy a Grand Seiko. You can buy a Grand Seiko Spring Drive Snowflake. And anyone who's into watches knows exactly what I'm talking about. That is the most precision mechanical watch in the world. Nobody can beat the Spring Drive mechanical Grand Seiko watch. So when you buy one of these, they're made out of titanium. You're buying the best that man can make. We can't make a more accurate watch. Let's see, Spring Drives are accurate within a tenth, 1 second a month. And now I think the new ones are a lot more accurate than that, maybe a 1/2 second a month. And people would say, yeah, but it still tells time. And it's okay, it's accurate, but battery operated watches are a lot more accurate than a mechanical watch. Trouble is, it's a mechanical watch and it's pride of ownership that you have something out there that is the best man can make. And this is what this is. This is probably not for everybody. It's probably for the hobbyist who says, I'd like to have the best just because. And that's what this is. This is Dr. Novak, and until next time, I will be talking about how to turn canister filter into an anoxic filter and tell you how I made the BCB basket and show you how to set it up. So thank you for watching.